The views and opinions expressed in this channel are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views of our guests. The views and the opinions of the guest do not represent nor reflect the views and opinions of the Lockoutmen channel, nor its host. Our guests' opinions are their own. This channel is for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only, and utilizes fair use materials in accordance with applicable laws.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
What's going on, drivers? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for listening. I am Lockoutmen. And before I start, I want to give a super shout out to my man, Christopher Allen, for hipping me to this story. Now, this actual story happened about a couple of months ago that involved this Indian origin truck driver. He was involved with a fatal crash that took the lives of a mother and daughter up in Canada. Also, I would like to say thanks to the thousands and thousands of views that we received on our last video. Our last video, which was about the Black Ops company that Harjinder Singh, the truck driver that was involved in that Florida Turnpike crash, the company that he drove for, White Hawk Carriers, they went ghost. Now, there was a lot of interesting things that generated in the comments, such as the CEO of the company. I know I have mentioned that it was a he. A lot of you guys is saying that it's a female ran company. So I'm not sure of that exactly. And when we look it up on Google, they have no physical terminals or physical buildings. It shows a residence. So it could be whoever it is. I honestly don't know. But thanks to the thousands of views that video got and the thousands of comments that's still coming in, just letting us know a little bit more tidbit about the company, the driver, not just here in the States, but in Canada too. I want to just say thank you. Our story begins with a 25-year-old Indian origin truck driver,
Navjeet Singh.
Back in November, he blew through a stop sign on Highway 201 in
Manitoba.
His semi-truck slammed into an SUV. Inside the SUV was Sarah, 35 years old, she's the mother, and her daughter, 8-year-old Alexa. Unfortunately, it was tragic. The mother died on the scene while the daughter was life-flighted to a hospital, and there she passed away. Singh, at the time of the accident, was treated for his injuries and was released. Now, what I don't understand, because hearing this story and the tragic story down in Florida, I'm beginning to not understand how are these drivers are being released after a tragic accident that they caused, especially if it's a fatality involved. Now, of course, our guy,
Harjinder Singh,
went back to California, and you guys know what he was about to do. But they didn't let that happen because they caught his ass and extradited his ass back to Florida. For our guy up in Canada with the same last name, yeah, he was able to leave, and leave he did. So instead of facing charges of the tragic fatality that he caused, which was 2 counts of dangerous operations causing death, he fled. Authorities couldn't track him down, and Canada expeditiously put out a warrant for his arrest. 9 months later, he comes back to Canada and lands at Pearson's Airport on an Ethiopian Airlines flight, and Peel police officers and Border Patrol was there patiently waiting for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Now, this story is breaking while across the border in the U.S., there's already controversy going on with Pananji truck drivers. You guys know
Harjinder Singh.
He was the truck driver that was involved in that Florida crash that took out 3 people by making an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike. While that incident right there kind of pushed the U.S. to put a halt on all work visas for foreign truck drivers. Now, our friends up in the north, the Canadian Trucking Alliance, they pretty much stepped in with their take. While Canadian visas aren't affected, but they did admit that this should be a wake-up call. In their words, clean up the system, fix licensing and safety gap, or risk facing the same restrictions from the U.S. This is tragic all the way around. A mother and daughter lost their lives all because this Indian descent decided not to stop at the stop sign. Drivers, we all know that that's pretty much the basic fundamental rules of driving. Now, I get it. Maybe you wasn't paying attention where there's traffic around and you're supposed to stop. Again, it's basic fundamentals of driving. When you're driving a semi-truck, drivers, you don't get second chances. Mistakes in a vehicle that size, it destroy families. It destroy lives. It puts your CDL at risk. You can risk losing your freedom. It can even take you out. But what's worse than all of this,
Navjeet Singh.
ran. I want to say the same thing happened to
Harjinder Singh.
He ran, but he was caught. Even though this driver ran, he skipped out of the country for almost a year. That's just not reckless driving anymore. That's just plain cowardness. Now, drivers, here's the bigger problem. This incident right here feeds into the already heated narrative around foreign truck drivers in the US and Canada. And yes, drivers, it is pretty messy right now. But am I saying, are all Panunji or Indian truck drivers unsafe? Of course not. Not all of them. But unfortunate stories like the fatal accident that happened in Canada, and of course the fatal accident that happened here in the States, stories like those is going to get weaponized. These stories like those is going to create stereotypes for hard-working truck drivers who are out here following the rules. But on the flip side of this, drivers, trucking authorities can't ignore none of this anymore. See, of course, the system really needs to be tightened up. There are too many gaps in accountability, testing, and training of these drivers. It doesn't matter if you're American-born, Canada-born, or if you're born overseas. If you're not properly trained and safety isn't enforced, then tragedies in these two countries will happen.
Hold on.
Enjoying what you're hearing? Ready for unfiltered trucking talk that tells it like it is? The Trucking Commentary Podcast with Lockoutmen delivers authentic reactions and engaging conversations about the latest trucking content from across YouTube and TikTok. Help us reach more drivers like you. Hit that like button and leave a comment to boost our visibility in YouTube's algorithm. Your support helps us deliver more of the no-nonsense trucking commentary you've come to like from Lockoutmen.
This is a reminder of what's at stake here. You see, trucking isn't just about freight and miles. It's really about life and death when you sit behind the wheel of 80K pound vehicles. Now, Canada has a choice now. Before the US starts applying the same restrictions north of the border. Now, as for us drivers out here, whether you're an experienced driver or an experienced immigrant, safety always have to come first, drivers. Because when it doesn't, families like the one in Florida and the one in
Manitoba,
unfortunately, they will pay the ultimate price. Until next time, drivers.
What do you think? Should Canada start enforcing tighter rules on licensing and driver accountability before it gets out of hand? Or is this being blown out of proportion because of a few reckless drivers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you've got your own story, good or bad, email it to me at lockoutmenpodcastguest@gmail.com. This is the Underrated and Overworked podcast. Thanks for listening.